Welcome to another free e-learning tutorial from dacanane.com. This tutorial is a quick tutorial to demonstrate a specific skill as requested by a couple of teachers. The teachers want me to show the students how to create a simple model and then add images to that model. So this is not a full Sketchup tutorial, but it's a specific skill. This tutorial is designed to help you create a packaging product in Google Sketchup. To start with that, we need to create a five-sided net. Obviously we don't need the base. What's important about the net is that it's accurate. So you can do this on a piece of A4 paper, but what the students need to do is to make sure that the height and the width of the net is accurate, and they cut it out and they create it accurately. So from this net you can see that students could fill out their product. You could do this individually on individual pieces of paper or create an entire net. But the point is, make a net that the students then use. Once the students have actually created their net and designed it and coloured it in, painted it, done it in whatever graphics program they wish to do it in, it's very important that they take individual images of each of the sections of the net. So they need to either cut them out, but they need to photograph them from the same height so that the scale is the same size. And the picture they actually upload to Google SketchUp when they're completed mustn't have any other border around it, so they must crop it. So they might need to use a proprietary editing tool like Photoshop, or they can use online tools like Pixlr.com. But what is important is that the edges of the picture are the edges of the picture and then nothing else is there, otherwise this is not going to work. So the measurements need to be really accurate. So my product here, I've got the images are 200 millimeters wide. The big one is 200 millimeters wide and 400 millimeters high, and the spine or the sides of my packaging is 75 millimeters wide by 400 millimeters high. So this is really important to get that accurate, otherwise this is not going to work well in Google SketchUp. Once Google SketchUp opens, the first thing you have to do is select the appropriate template. The default setting in Google SketchUp is set to feet and inches for American Imperial. We want to set ours to millimeters, so we need to scroll down to the bottom and choose a different template. With the right template chosen, we can now click on the Start Using SketchUp button and begin our project. To start our new project, we need to make sure we get rid of this default object here. Highlight it, then delete it. To add the large tool set to Google SketchUp, I need to start by clicking on View. To start building our shape, we just need to click on the rectangle button and draw on the plane a rectangle of any size. It's important to set the exact size of the base of the object. To do that, we have to remember the size of the shape that we've drawn in a net, and to do that we just make sure we put in the dimensions box here the exact size of the width and the depth of the box. So in my case it's 200 millimeters wide by 75 millimeters deep, and you just type in by just typing 200 millimeters comma 75 millimeters, and once you've finished you press the enter button to set the size. The base of my object is now the exact size in relationship to the drawing that I've done with my net. It's 200 millimeters wide by 75 millimeters deep, and now I need to make it 400 millimeters high. So to make my two-dimensional object three-dimensional, I use the push-pull button, and again I just pull up a random amount and then I type in 400 millimeters, and Google SketchUp will set the object to the exact height. This is now an object that exactly meets the requirements of my net. 200 millimeters wide, 75 millimeters deep, 400 millimeters high. And now I can get ready to paste my pictures onto this shape. Using the orbit tool, I turn one of the faces directly to me so that it's as square onto the screen as possible. Just makes it easier to paste the picture to the right plane. So now I'm ready to add the images. To start to add images, I first need to click on File. Once the menu opens, I scroll down and click on Import. It is important to select the right file type for the image that you wish to import. I saved my objects as PNG files, so I need to select the PNG option from the Files Type drop-down menu here. Obviously, if you've done JPEGs, you need to use and make sure you select JPEGs. Once my file type has been chosen, I need also to change the radio button over to the right here and make sure that the image is used as a texture. Now it's simply a case of browsing to the location that I saved my images to. I saved mine to the desktop and I've given them recognisable names. Once the picture is inside Google Sketchup, it's now a case of putting the mouse pointer on the bottom corner of the face that you want the object to appear on, and then click and drag diagonally to the top opposite corner, and the picture will be inserted in place. That image is now being allocated to that face of the shape, and now it's simply a case of repeating that same process on all the other faces of the object with the other images that I've created. And that's it. Our product has now been coated with our artwork and it's ready to be animated. So as you can see, we can scroll around this and it looks really good. The key, again, as I keep saying, is making sure that the measurements of your images exactly line up to the size of the object you're creating. If you're out, then you're going to get slightly repeated patterns, and that can actually make things a little bit not as polished as you'd like them to be. So now we're going to move on to animating this object and exporting that video file. To start an animation, we need to make sure that our product is set up in a way that looks visually pleasing with inside the frame. So here you can see I've kind of got a full-on view of my picture, and now I'm ready to capture my first view of the object that I'm going to orbit around. So basically we're going to animate the camera now. So I'm going to go to View now. Once the View options open, I click on the bottom option, Animation. And now I click on Add Scene. You can add as many scenes as you like. I'm just going to add a couple, but just to get the idea of what's going on, and then I'm going to animate it. So I'm going to keep repeating this process until my project is the way I want it to be. Now I've set my first scene. I use the Orbit tool again. I can use the Pan tool. I can use the Zoom tool to move my object around so that I'm showing off my product to the best of my abilities to make a really compelling visual presentation of my object, so I can then use it for an advertising video. I can now watch my masterpiece by again clicking on View and then selecting Animation once again, and then finally clicking on Play Animation. To stop the animation, just click on the Play dialog box. To export the video, I need to click on File, then click on Export, and finally click on Animation, and then choose the file format I want to export it to. These are the options available to me. I'm happy with MP4, so I'm going to stick with the default MP4, but as you can see, you can save to AVI if you wish to as well. And that's it. My video is now being exported from Google Sketchup in a format that I can now import into another video editing program where I can add a voiceover, I can add music, I can add titles, and I can make it into a advertising video, promo video, which I can then share elsewhere. So, as you can see, it's really easy to create a box, add images to the box, and then animate that box as part of your product design program. Thanks for watching this free tutorial. Your support is important to us and we value your feedback. So please leave a comment below, and also don't forget to like us. We aim to produce one tutorial per week, so why not subscribe? You won't regret it. So until our next tutorial hits your feeds, keep practicing.